All right, so how is a percent an expression of a fraction? So I have an official definition here. All right, so if I have a fraction, suppose I have 7 over 100. What's the percent? If the bottom is 100, the percent is just a number on top. So this would be equal to 7%. Here, let's try another one. What if I said 30 over 100? If it was 30 over 100. Yep, it's 100 on the bottom, so we can cross that off. And then this would be 30%. Okay, so it's an expression of the fraction. Are these also decimals? Yeah, so could you say this for me? 7, and then what's this word, with this thing in words? Hundredths, right? So this is also known as 0.07. Yeah. So we have a decimal, a fraction, and a percent. And we're going to spend a little more time talking about this, but this is pretty much what percent is. Sometimes it's easier to show you rather than just clog it up with a whole bunch of words. Okay, so let's take a look. So I'm going to read these out loud. You don't have to read these, but on your piece of paper right now, here, come back to my face. On your piece of paper right now, I want you to write this down. Ready? You got 82% on your math test. What are you writing down right now? Can you write down just the numbers that I said with the percent sign after it? 82%, what would that be? So you'd write an 8 and a 2, and then we'd have 82%. 82%. Good, that's the answer to the first one. We're on page 1 in your workbook. Okay, the clothing store is having a 40% off sale. Okay, can you write that number? Clothing store is having a 40% off sale. Not this one, not that, but this one. Yeah? Okay, cool. Let's do another one. An apple has 10% of how much vitamin C you need every day. Can you tell me that one? You can show the camera too, because I'm watching your cameras. An apple has 10%. What have you got? Have you got a 1 and a 0 and a percent sign? Yeah, an apple has 10%. So it's not this thing. That's not a thing. We don't usually put percents over a fraction. Okay? You can have decimals and percents, but not fractions. Okay, good. Here, let's do a few more. Let's flip this around. Okay, how about, let's see. Lisa's credit card has an interest rate of 21 2/10%. Whoa, what did I just say? 21 2/10. Okay, so you have a choice, 2/10%. Do you notice how it's upside down now, but it's not, the percent is not in the fraction. You can have this and then the percent sign after the fraction, but you wouldn't put the percent sign up by the 2. You see that? Okay, so you could write it this way, or you could write 21 2/10%. Are these two the same? Yes or no? Are they the same? Yeah, they are the same, aren't they? Okay, so 21 2/10%. You want to try one more? Okay, let's try one more. And here's the last one. Eric's school survey showed that, showed that 7% of the students play basketball at lunchtime. So this will tell you how many friends that you can play with, right? 7%. So what's that number? What's that number? Can you show me? Okay, go ahead and show the camera for those of you that are on Zoom. 7%. I'll write it down as well. Okay, so what did you get? Not 70%. I know, I just pulled it out of focus. It looks like the camera was trying to focus. There, is that better? Okay, now it won't autofocus. Okay, yeah, so it should look like this, 7%. 7%. Excellent. All right, big old smile on your face if this is making sense so far. Yeah, okay, great. So let's take a look at the next one. All right, so the next one is for each image below. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger for you. For each image below, we want to write the shaded part as a fraction, a decimal, and a percent. I'm going to tell you right now there's 100. Okay, and because it might be a little blurry, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 squares this way, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares that way. Okay, if there's 4 by 6, what do you know? If that's 4 by 6, how big is that? If that's 4 by 6, what do you think? Okay, so we have 24, yeah? All right. If it's 4 by 6, we have 24%. And actually, I think I miscounted. It's 1, 2, 3, I skipped 1, 4, 5. This is 5 on this side, and this is 7 on that side. Can we do it now? What's 5 times 7? 35, that's right. So there are 35 out of 100 that are shaded. Good. And can we write this as a decimal? Sure. Can you say this word, this fraction out loud? Say it out loud. 35 hundredths. Okay, we learned how to do that before. All right, what's the percent? What do you think? What's the percent? Any ideas? What's the percent? I know it's changing color on you for a second. Okay, because it's the bottom is 100, you can say, hey, it's 35%. If the bottom was like 70, you can't just pull it off. We have to do a little bit more work in order to figure that out. Okay, let's try another one. All right, so there's only 3 that are not shaded. All of them are shaded. So there's 100 in a block. What's 100 minus 3? 100 minus 3? Yeah, yep. Okay, you had 100 cookies, but you gave 3 away and you kept the rest for yourself. All right, so 97 out of 100. Would you agree? Is that true? Okay, what's the decimal? Okay, say this one out loud. 97 hundredths. 97 hundredths. Good. All right, what about the percent? What do you think about the percent? It's over 100, so just take the top guy and stick this odd looking percent sign after it. 97%. If this is making sense, give me a big old smile. If this is sort of making sense. Okay, good, good, good. We're going to get harder, don't worry. All right, what about this one? There's only 1 shaded. Can you do that? Real quick, I'm going to race me to the answer. Ready? Okay, don't look up here. Race me to the answer. All right, there's only 1 shaded, right? So we have 1 out of 100. That makes sense. Did you get the decimal right? Or did you put the 1 right after the dot? Yeah. If you're not sure, you got to say this thing out loud. 1/100th. And then for decimals, the 0 right there is in the tenths, and the 1 is in the hundredths. Good. Oh, you beat me? Okay, that's fine. And this is 1%. All right, let's try, how about this one? This one has 2, but they're not connected. Does that matter? No, we don't care about that. Okay, so instead of a 1, this would be a 2. All right, ready, set, go. I'll race you. Go, go, go. How'd you do? Did you get it? If you got it, give me a big old smile, like a big toothy grin. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so you've got this page. That's page number 2. Look at you going through this. All right, how about a third one? Let's skip over to page number 3. No, we're not going to do the whole workbook. I'm just picking certain ones out. Okay, so sometimes doing the numbers one is good, but sometimes if it's nothing or if it's 100%, it throws people. So let's take a look. Nothing is when you're not sharing anything with anybody. You're taking it all for yourself, right? Or if you've got no cookies, right? You haven't made the cookies yet. Nothing. That's what percent is that? Is that 1%? No, what is it? Tell me out loud. What is it? It's 0. You have nothing. Nada. Zip. Is there another word that you know for 0? What's another word? Nil? Kaput? I don't think I know kaput. Okay, all right. So this one's 0%. Good. And what about this one? Yep, you kept all the cookies for yourself. Oh, you guys have given me all kinds. Zilch, Nula, Zero. Wow, okay, perfect. You got 9. Great. N-I-E-N, right? Nothing. Okay, good. This one is 100%. Okay, so I have a question for you. Look down here at the very bottom. All right, what is 0% of 45? Oh, you can't see, sorry. What is 0% of $45? I'm going to give you 0% off of the regular price. Yeah, you can start laughing right now, right? Don't I sound like a used car salesman? Not used car salesman, like a salesman, like the worst sense of the word. Yeah, 0% just for you. What is it? How much money are you saving? Yeah, zilch, nada. Here, I'm going to use all the ones you just gave me. None. How much is the thing that you want to buy? It's still $45. This is 100%. 0% is $0. Good. All right. What is 100% of 10 minutes? Can you do that can you use percent and minutes together? Is that allowed? Absolutely. You can put percent on anything. You put it on hamsters if you want. You could put it on nostrils. It doesn't matter. You take it. Okay, 100% of 10 minutes. How many minutes is that? 10. Good. Okay, great. You got this page. All right, moving on. Next one. Okay. So since 100%, if I have 100% of something, that is all of it. And that is none of it that you can see. That is all of it. 100% is all. If I said, you get 60% of the cookies, I get 40. Who gets more? If you get 60%, point to yourself if you get more, or point to the camera if I get more. I get 40. Yeah, you get more. Okay, so in order to find out what something is, we can use this to subtract. So for example, if you got an 88% on your biology test, what percent of the problems do you still need to go over? Which ones were not right? We would take this 100 minus 88. Because we know full price is 100%, or the full amount, the whole thing. But you got 88, so you got real close. That's awesome. So we got 12% that we still need to, answers wrong. So we need to go check that out. Okay, and this is really useful. So this information is assumed that you know. So if you're stumped on a problem, often go back to think about what you do know that maybe not be written down. Here, watch this. 46% of the students are boys. How many are girls? Well, you only got two choices, right? So if 46%, are there more boys or girls? There's going to be more girls, right? Okay, so 100 minus 46 is 54. So 54% are girls. So it's assumed, 100 is not even in here, right? So it's assumed that you know this. Okay, here, try another one. Michelle found 37% preferred spring water to purified water. I didn't even know there was a difference. Okay, so what percentage prefers purified? Okay, so 37 want basically one thing, and how much want the other? Okay, well, we have to do subtraction. We're assuming 100% is the group. 37 wants, spring water, and if we do, is it 63? Is that right? 63% want that kind of water. Good. All right. Sometimes, actually in the very near future, you're going to have some pie. Anybody like pie? You guys like pie? What kind? There's only really one pie that I like. Let's see if you guys like the same kind I like. Well, okay, there's two. Some people don't consider this a real pie, but I would have to say mud pie is my favorite. But those of you who have never had mud pie, it's an ice cream pie with cookies in it, and you don't bake it. But my real pie, where you bake it in the oven, has a crust and everything, would be apple. Anybody like apple? Yay! Okay, no, you don't. Well, not the slimy, icky kind, but like the homemade one. Yeah, the homemade one. The only apple pie I like is the one I make. I don't like anybody else's. Okay, so let's go back to math here. We got some pie. Okay, so check this out. If I have, look at this one, 25, 25, and 25, what's this last piece? See, the whole thing is 100. So what we do is we say 100 minus this 25, minus that 25, minus that 25. Those of you who already recognize this pattern, who's left over? What do we put here? Yeah, these are quarters, aren't they? 0.25, each one is a quarter, otherwise known as 25. So 25% is left. So you just subtract everything else. And so often in marketing graphs or sales graphs, they will not label some of them. And so it's just assumed you would figure that out. So for this one, the whole thing is 100. And so you're just going to take out these numbers, 27, 12, 11, 6, 14. So you add all these up, and then subtract them from the whole, which is 100. So it's 100 minus all of these, and that will give you your final piece. This is really similar to fractions. Would you agree? Really similar to fractions. Okay, let me see. I had another page I wanted to take a look at. Okay, so do you remember how we were doing the grids before? And there was like 1 or 2 or something, right? Can we do it the opposite way now? Okay. Can you shade in 100%? Tell me, what would I have to do? How many do I leave open? Can you show me with your hands? How many do I leave open? Yeah, you guys are practicing your zeros again. Okay, so none. The whole thing. You can scribble outside the lines if you want. There we go. All right. Okay, 100%, whole thing. Okay, I know the camera's a little shaky, I know. 50%. What do I do here? 50%. 50% shaded also happened. This is the one number that corresponds, doesn't it? So that means you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw a line. This one is shaded on that side, but this one is not. 50% is one you're going to memorize real quick if you haven't, that it's already half. How about 25%? What would you say about that? How about 25%? Well, if there's 100 in here, how many squares am I coloring in? 25. The top row, this is a row of 10, 20, and then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is how much we would color. And it doesn't, you could do 25 like separate ones, that'd be fine. Okay, so can you do these without writing anything down? Yes, I bet you can. Watch this. 9% of the students want to play soccer. Would you be one of those? Do you like soccer? Yeah? Maybe with friends, if it's fun? Yeah, and there's a pizza involved? Okay. What percent do not play soccer? Can you just, yeah, okay. So 9% play soccer. Just shout it out. What's the answer? How many do not? They don't even tell you how many kids there are. Does that matter? No, because we're dealing in percent. Percent doesn't matter how much the whole is. It'll just give you based on 100. And it's really easy to scale it up and down. So we like 100. So how did I get 91? I had 100%. That was all the kids. Minus 9. That gave me 91. How about this one? Can you do this one in your head? 94% of the students do not play volleyball. What percent do? 94% don't play volleyball. How do you get from 94 to 100? So 100 minus 94 is 6%. All right, so I'm going to let you finish that one. How are we feeling so far about percent? Are you kind of getting a feeling for kind of how it works? Notice nowhere did I say there are 825 kids in the school. Don't care about that part yet. We will, but not quite yet. We're just introducing the concept of percent. Okay, so there's there's 2 more examples I want to do, and then we're going to switch to our intermediates. So intermediates, we're going to start in about 5-10 minutes. All right, so beginners, I want to make sure you're still good with what we've got. Okay, so there are some words that we have been using, but maybe you haven't really noticed. Okay, if I said 14%, what that really means is 14 out of every 100 was colored, right? On that page we were coloring. So the fraction was, so for this one, 50, we colored 50 blocks out of 100. So for every 100, there are 50. If I have 200 blocks, there's going to be 50 out of 100 colored, and the second block, 50 out of 100 colored. So this gives us something like a ratio, like we studied before. So if I said 3 out of every 100 students love chewing gum, what percent is that? Can you just shout it out? 3 out of every 100. So that's 3%, because it's 3 out of every 100. And if the bottom is the 100, the top you can just grab as the percent. We're going to get to where this is not true, where the bottom is like a weird number, like 12.5, and then you got to do something else. Okay, if I said 10% of you stay on for all 3 hours of math class today, which is about right. Well, no, actually it's higher than that. How many students out of 100, how many, so there's 100 total, 10 out of every 100 stay for the entire math class. And actually ours is a little bit higher than that. If I said 100 out of 100, what does that mean? Yep, it is time to pig out on all those cookies because they are all yours. Okay, great. So Awesome. All right, so one more quick thing before we finish. I have some pictures here. Let me see. Flip, 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 flip. There we go. So this is now we're already on page 10. Can you believe it? You guys are just flying through this workbook. Okay, so let's take this. This is going to be the bridge between beginner and intermediate. Okay, so if I said 0% of 80 elephants, how many elephants have you got? 0. If I said you have 100% of the elephants, how many elephants do you have? Yeah, it's easy, right? 80. Okay, what about these other ones? Okay, if I said 50% of the elephants, okay, back up. I know some of you are already shouting out the answer, and you're right, let's back it up just for a second. What does 50 mean? It's 50 out of 100. Okay, that's what we're saying for 50% is 50 out of 100. Okay, so what are we saying here? Can you reduce this? Yep, into a different fraction. So this is, if we get rid of the tens, this is 5 out of 10. So out of every 10, you get 5. Okay, can you divide the top and bottom by 5? So we have a 1/2. So 1/2 is 50%. Okay, so 50% can reduce down to 1/2. Let's do it for 25%. 25% is 25 over 100. Can you divide the top and the bottom by 25? 25 divided by 25, that's pretty easy, right? That's 1. How about 100? How many quarters in a dollar? That's why they call them quarters, right? 1 quarter. So 25% is 1 quarter, and 1/2 is 50%. Okay, knowing that, now we can start. Remember before I said, notice we haven't said how much of anything. Now we can. So start to take a look at this. If I said, you get half and I get half, 50% is half. How many do we each get? Yeah, so you take the 80 and you multiply it by 1/2, or you can divide it by 2. It's the same thing. So what we're going to have is 80 divided by 2. Okay, which you already know the answer is 40. You probably did this in your head. Okay, this is easy. This one, also a little easy. This one, maybe a little bit harder, right? So we're going to take it slow. Okay, so if I said you get 25%, okay, 25% of 80, how much is that? Well, I don't know. Sure you do. 25% is equal to, I want you to memorize these two. 50% is a half. That's one of them to memorize. The other one is 25% is a quarter. So you're basically going to take 80 and divide it by 4. Can you do that? So 80 divided by 4, how much do you get? So can you do 8 over 4? Yeah, that's 2, right? And then have the 0 come along for the ride. So 20, 40, 60, 80. So if you had 80 cookies and 4 people, everybody would get 25%, which is not 25 cookies, it's 20 cookies because of this number. So if I said this is 800, 100% would now be 800. Would you agree? How about 0%? What would that be? Yeah, it'd be 2. No, I'm kidding. It'd still be 0, right? I'm just kidding. You don't need a second 0 there. Okay, but what about this? 50% of now 800. Yeah, you'd have to add another 0, right? Half of 800 is 400. And a quarter of that would be 200. Do you see how you can scale this? This is where the power of percents comes from. So you're going to finish the rest of this, and you can either, on the bottom here, I want us to do this last one together. Let's get it started. I don't want you to calculate anything yet. No calculators yet. You don't even need to do your long division. Watch this. Look at the second one. Something of $31.11 is $0. What can you tell me? What percent is going to give you $0? What percent? Super easy, right? What percent? Just put it in. That's it. You don't have to do any calculations. All right, let's look for easy ones that we know. Okay, easy ones. Oh, wait, look, $100 and $100. What do you know about this one? What percent of $100 is $100? Can you do this one? If you get all of it, you get 100%. Yeah. So like one time, you guys want a quick story? When my kid was, how old was he? He must have been like 3, maybe. And so 3-year-olds, they're pretty easy to hide things from, right? And so I got an ice cream for myself when we were out and he was playing on something, and I wanted to finish it myself. So I had thrown it in the freezer at home. We had one of those big pull-out freezers. And then he comes around the corner, and so he was playing. We had gotten home. He was playing, and I snuck around the corner. You ever do this and you just want to like eat the whole thing yourself? So I snuck around the corner, and I didn't even hear him. Like normally you can hear a 3-year-old. Like it's pretty easy because they make a ton of noise and they're always babbling and crashing into things and, you know, knocking things over. It's pretty easy to find them, right? So, but anyway, so I didn't hear him, and I'm like this, right? I'm shoveling, and he comes around, and I hear this, "Mommy, share." I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Say no? Like, no, kid, I'm not going to share with you. What kind of lesson would that be, right? So, yeah, so I was trying to go for 100%. My cute little adorable 3-year-old was like, "Mommy, you're sharing, right?" I'm like, because what are we always trying to teach kids? Share, right? And sometimes you don't want to share. That's mine, right? So, yeah. Anybody in that boat sometimes? You just don't want to share. Okay, and that's, that's okay. Okay, so, all right, let's look at what other ones we can quickly do. $0. Can you do the $0 one? Yeah, what are you going to put here? If you got nada, nil, well, I'm going to use some of your words. Zip, zilch, zero, nothing. What are you going to put here? Yeah, 0%. Good. Okay. All right. Did we get all the ones that were zeros or 100? I think we did. Okay. So here's the other trick to doing this. So which one of these numbers, just don't look at the cents because they're in there to confuse you on purpose. Which one is half? So like, look, 12 and 6. Would you agree that that's probably the 50% one without actually doing calculations? Yeah, if you double 6, you get 12. So this one would be 50%. Okay. Oh, look, 26 and 26. What would you say about that? If you get all of it, right, you're not sharing, what would that be? That'd be 100%. Yeah, don't let these decimals, these big scary numbers scare you. All right. If I have, would you agree $1 with 2 pennies is about $1? Would you agree? It's about a US dollar, okay? And if I give you 50 cents, what do you think that is? What do you think that is? Your choices are here, 100, 50, 25, or 0. Yeah, it's half, right? So I would say that's 50%, okay? And what else? We got a 60 and a 30. What do you think about that guy? 60 and 30. Yeah. You think that's a quarter? Really? If I double 30, what do we get? If we take 30 plus 30, we now have, that's right. So this would be 50%. Excellent. All right. Now the rest of them. So if I have, which one here? If I have $1 with 1 penny and I multiply it by 4, do I get that? Do I get $4? I do. So this one's going to be my 1/4. It's going to be my 1/4 here. So this is going to be my 25%. Do you see how we can use logic to figure these out? And that's fine too. And the rest of these, what do you think about the rest of these? I have 16 and 64. You may not be familiar with 16. 16 and 16 is 32. Add 2 more 16s and you get 64. So this is also a quarter. Good. All right. So how are we feeling? How are you feeling? Let me see it on your face. How are we doing? You feeling good? Okay. That was most of the workbook for this week. So I know you finished. I know, yay, right? Okay, you're gonna finish the rest. You have all week to do it. You're going to pages 1 through 19, and we just did a lot of it. Because the workbook is laid out so well, I wanted to spend some extra time just showing you, because we've had a number of kids say, "Oh, I wish I could do the workbook, but it feels too much." But see, the workbook is laid out in a really easy format to make it sense. Can you do the last problem? I'm going to leave that for you. Going to leave it for you. I have to leave you something to do. Okay, all right. So we're going to pause here for a second. It is time for a snack.